Hello, my name is Reverend Darrell Goodwin. I'm the Associate Conference Minister of the Iowa, Nebraska, and South Dakota Conferences of the United Church of Christ. And I have been invited by a fantastic planning team with the New Hampshire Conference to offer some thoughts on my understanding and feeling about Juneteenth. As we know, Juneteenth is a celebration of when Union soldiers arrived in Texas to announce to folks that they were indeed free. The unfortunate part was that this was 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, and folks were still believing that they were not free. A couple of reflections I want to offer. One is a song that's important to me in this struggle, and then some reflections I have as an African American Associate Conference Minister in the United Church of Christ. This song, I think, is recorded by Sweet Honey and the Rock, and so please find them, as their voices might sound far more amazing than mine. Go with me in this reflection. We who believe in freedom shall not rest, not rest. We who believe in freedom shall not rest until it comes. We who believe in justice shall not rest, not rest. We who believe in justice shall not rest until it comes. We who believe in justice will not rest, not rest. We who believe in justice will not rest until it comes. We who believe in freedom will not rest, not rest. We who believe in freedom shall not rest until it comes. My reflection on what Juneteenth means in 2020 is that for those of us who believe in freedom and justice, we will not rest until it comes. That we will find our place in this struggle. We will find our place in this pandemic of racism in this country and do what we're called to do to put an end to white supremacy and this notion that Black lives still, in many cases, do not matter. You may be saying, well, Reverend Goodwin, I can't protest, or I don't have an immediate opportunity to do something outward or public in my particular town or my city in New Hampshire. Well, I invite you that ending white supremacy is actually a lifelong process, and it's something that we do with our very lives. It's something that we do when we interrogate who our friends are, who we invite to the dinner table, who we're reading, where are we putting our particular dollars and investment in this capitalistic economy. Some of the reflections I've had here as I live in Omaha, Nebraska, are white families who decided that they will seek out African-American barbers, seek out African-American plumbers, seek out African-American folks who do critical work, that they might read from the voices of Black folks, that they might also sow money into the creativity of Black folks, whether it be clothing or any other particular thing. Note that there is probably an African-American person who can provide some sort of educational or creative service for that which you are looking for. I was a student at Boston College, and during my time at Boston College, I was recently ordained in my first denomination before a privilege of call in the United Church of Christ. And one of the first places I was invited to preach was on the campus of Dartmouth College to preach a sermon. And I preached that sermon in New Hampshire at about 21 years old. What that made me realize is that the New Hampshire Conference maybe has a historicity of inviting Black and brown voices to come in. But the challenge is, how does the New Hampshire Conference create a safe space so that Black and brown bodies might not just visit to offer their gifts and talents, but they may continue to find the New Hampshire Conference as welcoming for their full personhood. You'll welcome them in your pulpits, not just as a guest, but as your settled pastor. You'll welcome them in as your interims, as your churches is going through transition. You'll welcome them in at some point in conference staff as your associate conference minister and even your conference minister. Black and brown voices will become a fabric of who the New Hampshire Conference can be. You will do that by first doing the work inside of yourself and doing the work inside of your personal communities so that the reality of Juneteenth may not also be a reality in the New Hampshire Conference, that Black folks won't know, oh, yes, New Hampshire is a place and a space for you to show up fully and authentically in who God has called you to be years and years and years after that should have been a reality. But it will be a reality because as we change, your church councils will change. As you and your church councils change, then so will the board of directors change. And then ultimately, the conference as a whole will continue to do its work around racial justice, but also be a welcoming place for folks who look just like me. So just as I found my voice as a college student at Boston College who was able to preach on Dartmouth College's campus in a United Church of Christ, may other clergy find their way to the New Hampshire Conference, and may they be enriched, enlivened, and blessed. I hope this is a blessing to you, and I hope that you will continue to find God moving through and with you as the New Hampshire Conference. Be blessed.